Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Portadown Preview Show. Before I introduce my guest, I'm going to mix it up this week before I forget and say if you could like and subscribe to the We Are Ports TV YouTube channel and check it out on Spotify, that would be greatly appreciated. But as always, I am joined by the champ that runs the camp, Dave Wiggins. Dave, how are you?
Not bad. I like that. The champ that runs the camp. That'll never be said again. It's too embarrassing, but there you go. I'm doing really well. And before I forget, as soon as Saturday's match was finished, Jacob Carney was shouting up from the bottom of the stand. He was licking 50 quid off you. So there you go. I don't know if that's technically tapping him up, but you owe him 50 quid. So
here, listen, motivational speaker, get me in the dressing room every week. We'll win it. Yeah. We'll win a few games. We're delighted to be joined today once again by local football broadcaster Michael Clarke. Michael, thanks very much for joining us again on the show. How are you keeping?
I'm doing very well. Even better now that I know the guests are being paid.
That's true. That's true. And this is your second time on, so
I'll only ask for one fee, honestly.
Well, listen, Neil's the man who holds the purse string, so you can text him after.
Here, well, listen, this is actually a first for this season. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but on this show, for the first time this season, we're going to be talking about not one, but two Portadown victories.
Oh.
So it's been a very good week for all Portadown fans. So we may get stuck right into it. First up, Carrick Rangers on Saturday past there. I was absolutely delighted. Dave, I'm sure you were too. What do you make of it? 2-0 win at home at Shamrock Park.
I never thought a victory against Carrick Rangers, no disrespect to them, they are former Irish Cup winners 40 years ago, but I never thought a victory against them would taste so sweet. It has to be said. It just felt really nice and it felt really good, and it was a flipping long time coming, it has to be fair. They haven't beaten us at Shamrock Park loads over the years, but we just seem to always play them at Taylor's Avenue or whatever you call it now, and they just have it over us. So it was smashing to come away with 3 points and a clean sheet, and it felt really good. We deserved it. I was on commentary for that game for the live stream, and Peter McCann was with me too, former Portadown League and Cup winner. And it was just a great day, and a bit of nostalgia is always good as well, having a former player there. But I suppose before the match, I had tipped Keelan Loughran as Carrick's danger man against us. And probably for me, the most pivotal moment that happened was he got an early booking, and that actually kept him quiet. You know, he wasn't well, when the referee booked him, he was in his face, obviously. But after that, he was kind of quiet. He wasn't harassing players and getting stuck into them as much. So I think that was an important moment of the game, just to keep him quiet. But all over the pitch, we worked really hard, scored 2 goals. Ben Tilney's free kick was obviously a bit of quality, and Lee Bonus getting a goal at the end. And it was the first victory I'd ever commentated on, Michael. There you go.
Oh, what a moment for you. So no wonder you're so happy.
I know, couldn't believe it. I've even clipped the commentary of the goal and fired it out all over social media because I enjoyed it so much.
Well, the good thing for you is, that moment, at least you're like an adult man, being able to listen back to that and your voice won't change. My early commentaries, I'm in my early 20s and my voice is a little different now. I was a bit squeakier then.
I thought you started when you were 14 or 15.
Oh, yeah. No, started doing radio shows. I've burned those tapes, believe me.
Those records.
Tapes.
Cassettes, yeah.
Oh, they are. They were recorded on a hi-fi in the house. One of my first ever radio shows, my dad had recorded, and I came in and he'd played it back in the house, and I'd got in quite late at night because it was a Monday evening, I think, and I was like, "Who is that?" Like, that's what you sound like, and I went, "Oh, for the love of God, how have they let me do a radio show the last couple of hours?" But yeah, practice makes perfect. But well, obviously, as a Carrick Rangers fan, I'm not delighted by the result, if I can be biased on this program, but I'm happy for you that you've had your moment.
You're a gentleman as always. And what do you call Carrick's coach there? Clifford
Adams.
Clifford Adams. I happened to be walking past him about 5:30, and I let out a bit of a yo and turned around, and him and a couple of players were behind me. I was like, lads, that wasn't at you. That was just a bit of relief coming out of me. I said, 2-0 victory, brilliant. And Clifford said, well, it wasn't for the good of this lovely football I keep hearing about. And I just giggled and thought, hey, we're used to playing well against Linfield and playing well against Coleraine and getting narrowly beaten. So to just get stuck in and battle and work really hard and come away with 3 points and a clean sheet was all that really mattered to me on Saturday. Plus, I won the Eden Reds Grand National Sweepstake, which was £100. So that was nice as well. It was a good day all round, Neil.
He's done all right. There might be a fee at the end of this by the sounds of it. He's loaded now.
Oh, should have kept that quiet.
Here you've got your Portadown mug there. Have you invested in the latest Portadown coffee granules? I saw that doing the rounds today.
Not yet. Are they our official sponsors?
I don't know. I saw it on our Twitter and then the
I mean our podcast's official sponsors.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant you didn't even know about it.
No, I saw it, yeah.
It's not a bad shout, albeit I don't like tier coffee. Sorry.
Well, just while we're on that, we our ports have been voting over the last week we're getting a revamp of the social club at Shamrock Park, Michael. So the bar's been moved to like a proper bar location up the side, and we're getting nice bar stools all around, and it's getting a whole refurb. So we our ports have just passed a vote to spend £3,000 on that refurb. So that's going to include a massive 85-inch flat screen TV, draft beer pumps for the first time in a long time, a bit of refurbishment, but also a lovely coffee machine for those people who maybe, just to make it more inclusive for everybody who maybe doesn't go in on Saturday for a beer. But so the Portadown coffee granules, what do you call those? Beans? Are they going to be beans or granules?
I
don't know. By the looks of it, you're the coffee expert, not me. So
I've never had a cup of coffee in my life, so I haven't a clue.
Have I met the only two people in the world that don't drink coffee?
Maybe. Does Neil not drink coffee? No.
No, I don't drink tea or coffee. No,
he doesn't. I like a lot of people in my line of work pretty much live on it. I should drink more water, if anything, but no coffee. Coffee's very good.
There's plenty of water in coffee though, so it's all good.
Well, I'll tell myself that.
I'm going to tell you a very quick story, totally off the point, but my dad, Rodney Wiggins, long-term Portadown fan. All right, Rod, he doesn't listen to this. He doesn't know how to listen to a podcast. But now he's 71, and about 3 months ago, I know him to not, he doesn't drink alcohol, he doesn't drink tea, he doesn't drink coffee, he only drinks Diet Coke. And about 3 months ago, he said to me, I was walking out of town the other day and I stopped at that ground and got myself a coffee. It was nice. So after 71 years of life, that man now every couple of days walking home from town gets himself a wee cup of coffee, and he just wants to be included in social scenes where people are drinking coffee. So there you go.
Love that. I sort of like to think by this time next year he'll have like a man bun as well, and he'll just kind of Benjamin Button it.
Yeah, two people I know who still have a man bun: Gareth Hanna, Keelan Loughran. There you go. I'm not saying anything more about it.
Are we here to talk about Portadown, or are we here to talk about coffee?
You're the host. You crack on.
No, listen. I agree with entirely what you said there about Carrick. It actually felt like a weight off the shoulders, to be honest, because Carrick have had the monkey on us here for quite a while. And I think it was a big win as well, because obviously we'll touch on the Dungannon game as well. But going into those two games against two rivals, down at the bottom of the league, and it was imperative. Like, if you got 6 points, it really did put you in a good position, put you in good stead, going forward. And we've talked about it before. Portadown have went and played well against the likes of Linfield, Coleraine, Larne, or whatnot. But we've came up short against the likes of Carrick and Warren Point. And to be honest, those are the games that need to be winning. Whereas Carrick have been doing better against the likes of Portadown. They've beaten us twice this season. So it was good to make a statement and, to put a bit of distance between us and them. But it did feel like, it felt like a massive win, to be honest. I know there's no relegation, but you don't want to be finishing in the bottom two. And it really did feel like a massive win. And I'm going to be honest, I was absolutely buzzing on Saturday. I really, really was. It's the amount of shit, part of my language, I have taken this season. And over the last few years, it just sort of felt like an FU to them. So
did you just put on your Portadown top and just go for a walk around Carrick Fergus, just like strolling with your chest out?
That's what I do all the time anyway. Here, I know you were saying there about having Peter McCann on the show, on commentary on Saturday there, and he was a league and cup winner reported on. Can you guess whose shirt this belongs to? Also a league and cup winner as part of that team.
Wesley Boyle.
Close, but no cigar.
Mark McCann.
No.
Darren Kelly, 100%. Your favorite man, Darren Kelly.
You're one number off it on the other side.
Mickey Collins, what a man. What a man.
Yeah, so I just thought, it's one of my favorite ever shirts, one of my favorite ever players. I thought, for such a monumental show this time with 2 wins, I get a good shirt on. Michael.
By the way, Neil, sorry, on Saturday, I think we had our first choice centre backs on the pitch together for the first time, possibly since Christmas, but definitely for a long time. So I think that really helped as well. Very solid we were, but
yeah, but even then, you're still talking Greg Hall's having to play out of position.
Oh, yeah.
And so technically it's still not our first defense in a sense, but they all played brilliantly well. And listen, keeping the clean sheets, obviously a solid base to get yourself 3 points. Michael, what did you make of Saturday then? Like we said, there's no relegation. I think it was a big statement from Portadown, and it was one that was really needed, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, if you actually look at both games, the fact that you've come away with 3 goals, 3 different scores, you haven't conceded, back-to-back wins, there's lots to be happy about. And the win over Dungannon was Matthew Tipton's 50th victory as Portadown manager. So nice little number for him to get there. So I think the Carrick game on its own, sets you up nicely going into the next one. And 1-0 on paper maybe doesn't look like a resounding win or anything like that. But at this stage in the season, it hardly matters. And at least now you can be looking at knocking on the door for 9th on the table, which, some people might say is a bit ambitious, but why not? It's only a few points between yourselves and Warren Point Town. Whereas had you have lost against Carrick, you'd be looking up at them as well. So it's all those sorts of things. I know how much it means to, the people at the club, anyone I've spoken to, including yourselves. You don't want anyone to turn around and go, you'd have been in a relegation playoff, or you'd have been relegated automatically in normal circumstances. You want to be able to say, well, actually, no, on merit, we avoided that. And those wins put you in a position to be able to do that, just ahead of the split. So they were vital. They were really vital for your season. If you lose one or both of those games, this isn't a very cheery episode for you or anybody watching or listening.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the Dungannon victory on Tuesday night was so important. You can win one-off games, but to put 2 victories together is a platform for moving forward, really, and it shows progress. I have to say, by the end of, by about an hour into the Dungannon match, our players did look absolutely exhausted, I know players love playing football matches rather than training, but it takes it out of you to be working every day and come out and play a match and leave all on the pitch, which is what our players have to do to get a result. Dungannon moved the ball very well on Tuesday night, and we sat back and let them play a little bit, but they're moving the ball so quickly, and they actually had a very young team on Tuesday night. Carville didn't start and Mays didn't start. So they were very young and energetic, it has to be said. But I still felt in the first half we were all over them. We had chances. Roy Carroll pulled off a couple of saves. One, which was, everybody just thought, bonus. It's a side foot into the corner, and somehow Roy reaches that big, long right arm and just gathers it in. Mind you, when he did dive for it, it took him about 5 minutes to get off the ground afterwards. So he was showing his age in that regard. But fair play to him. And he was talking those young lads through that game, and he was fair to them, but he was giving them grief when they weren't putting the effort in and they weren't coming back. But they moved it really well. I thought we worked really hard in the first half, and then in the second half, obviously 2 minutes into it, Adam Sally, who'd worked really hard in the first half, but maybe had just made a few wrong decisions. 2 minutes into the half, he curls one into the top corner and leaves Roy Carroll standing looking at it. I'm reluctant to say we then hung on for 40 minutes, but it kind of felt like that a wee bit. The energy was down and Dungannon were pushing, but we also still did have a couple of chances. We definitely had a shout for a penalty that I think was clear cut. and we George Tipton had got a knock. Sam Ward had got a knock. Paul Finnegan had got a heavy tackle that I feel probably was a red card rather than a yellow card. And then that player who fouled him cleared one off the line. All of that was going on. So, like we say, we ground out the result, and it was another 3 points. And like Michael just said, now we're knocking on the door of Warren Point. We're playing them next Saturday away. And instead of looking behind us, worrying about dropping into 11th, suddenly we're pushing up. And if we were to finish 9th this season, it's overachieving, in my opinion. We're all satisfied with 10th place. That was the target, probably. So to push on and potentially finish 9th would be brilliant. And we've got all those teams at home after the split, Warren Point, Dungannon, Carrick as well. So we're hitting it at a good time, but there's definitely plenty of walking wounded in the team as well.
I enjoyed your coffee pun there. Did you even realise?
No.
You ground out a result.
Nice. We're going to have to get this coffee company to sponsor our podcast here, Neil. Your podcast. Sorry, I'm only a guest. It's your podcast.
I'd agree with everything you said there. I think by the end, the Portadown players were knackered. You could see it. And Dungannon, obviously, with their youthful exuberance as well, were pushing forward and stuff. But Roy Carroll made an absolute wonder save from the start. I was literally like one arm in the air, about to run off Selvig, because Lee Bonus would have scored another goal and it would have got me more fantasy league points. And then he saved it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, how the hell did he save that? And then funny, today I was watching football countdowns, and it was worst refereeing decisions, and Roy Carroll dropping the ball against Spurs or Man United was on it, and I was like, he did that, but how the hell did he save Lee Bonus's shot last night? But
they saved that shot because it never counted as a goal.
Yeah, well, this is true. But what a fumble! But I agree with everything you said there. We looked like we're on our knees by the end there, and it was just great to get it over the line, because it's been 4 years since we've won 2 games on the spin, in the Premiership. So, that's a nice feeling. Michael, what do you make of Dungannon at the minute? I know obviously the league table doesn't lie, but I think they're better than people actually portray them to be.
They're having to be quite brave at the moment, because Dean Shields has come in and he has implemented a style of play which is particularly risky from the start, because he wants them to be brave and play it from the back. And it might seem like a strange parallel, but remember, he's on the coaching team of the Northern Ireland women's side as well, along as dad's the manager, Kenny, and congratulations to them. If I could be cheeky and just, say that, because that is the most outrageous thing that's maybe ever happened in sport, that they've qualified, when it's a team of majority amateur players who have barely had access to training, let alone an opportunity to compete, and for them to qualify. But you go back to their start of their group, they were playing out from the back, and they played 2 games against Norway and got beaten 6-0 in both matches. And people were saying, why are Northern Ireland's women trying to play like that? They're going to get hammered every time they go out. That was the start of the campaign. We're now looking at a Northern Ireland team that have actually qualified for the Euros. And I'm not saying Dungannon are going to win the league next season, but the point is, when you start playing that style initially, if you're not used to it, you'll be on the end of some thumpings potentially, and things won't go well. But gradually, and if he gets the investment he'll be hoping for this summer, maybe start to bring in players, they will start to improve. I thought they were very good against Linfield, a Linfield team who were maybe a bit tired and didn't go fully up the gears. But everyone that's watched Dungannon in the last few weeks has said they play really nice football, but now they need to concede less, and they need to start scoring, probably even more crucially than anything. They're a wee bit toothless still in their attack, but you can see little shoots of life from Dungannon, but it's probably too soon to expect much more than what we're seeing from them at the moment.
It is, and the jury's out for me between passing and moving in the Irish League and lumping it forward. Michael Galt was on here the other week, and he was just like, nah, it's the Irish League, just win the ball, get it forward, and and it's different. It's different. And if it gets some success and they start climbing the table and heading towards, halfway, or trying to knock on the door of the top half, maybe more teams will be trying that. But it's so different for us to see, just a team. we all teams try and, the goalkeeper rolls it out, but we're still trying to get the ball forward and get it into midfield and get it forward as quickly as possible. But I think they're very patient, and they're quite happy to move the opposition players around and look for those spaces. And like I said, because they are so young, and probably I get the feeling Dungannon have accepted that this season is a write-off for them, and they're working on this new style of play, working towards next season, presumably, even with the thought of some of those more senior players on the bench for 70 minutes last night. They were getting some of those young lads into the team and getting them playing. There's wee guy came on there, Teelan, maybe 10 minutes to go. Really small kid, and he went up the right wing and he bit of skill and cut one back for Mays, who missed the shot. But young player who was with us at one stage, and just very young still, and just getting those guys into the team and getting them experience, which is what Portadown are doing as well. At the end of the day, Oisin Connady was man of the match on Tuesday night, and he was absolutely brilliant. He's strong as a bull. He's just turned 18. He's quick. He's strong. He moves with the ball. He had a couple of
McGinty.
Yes,
yeah, I quite like that.
And he had a couple of good chances as well, but he worked really hard. So he's 18, George is 18, there's boys in there at 19, 20, 21 as well. So teams like ourselves in Dungannon, we're building for the future, and both going in the right direction, I would say. Well, there's only one direction for Dungannon to go, really, but that sounded like a dig, but it genuinely wasn't. But for ourselves, we're climbing the table and we're slowly moving forward, and I'm excited for a couple of seasons time or 3 seasons time to see where we can actually be with the squad of players. So things are good on and off the pitch actually at Portadown. Things are, it's just a nice time of.
What a difference a couple of wins makes. That's what I'm
I know, but we've done.
There's a spring in Dave's step here. You can tell you're absolutely buzzing.
Sun's out. Do you know what it is? We've done this whole thing for a few years, and we're there now, really, and hopefully we continue going in that direction. So yes, I'm excited. There's no shame in that, is there, Neil?
No, not at all. We were talking about the future there. What awaits us in the immediate future is Cliftonville this Saturday. Michael, you're going to be at the game. You're on ComSport for BBC. What do you make of Cliftonville this season?
Well, they're a lot harder to face now than what they were a few months ago. You look at their form, unbeaten in the last 6 matches. Since they were beaten by Linfield, they've gone on a good run of games. Wins against Glenavon, Coleraine, Warrenpoint Town, Dungannon, draws on the road to Larne and Crusaders. So, we know they're no mugs, but their confidence is a lot higher. Their performances have been much improved in recent weeks. And Michael McCrudden, who I know he got a hat-trick in the 5-0 win at Solitude over yourselves before Christmas, but he's in a really rich vein of form. He's 6 goals in his last 3 games. So it's not exactly, if you were to pick a time to play Cliftonville, I don't think this necessarily is the time. However, you did draw with them in February, so it shows that you can take points off them.
Yeah. And when you look at the form table there on the wee app that I have on my phone, you can look at the last 5 matches and the last 10 matches. So over the last 5 matches on form, Cliftonville are top of the league. Yep. Over the last 10 matches, they're just in behind Linfield there. So they're going really well. I would just play the under-20s and don't worry about it. Just wait for the Warrenpoint match.
Don't do that, because it's far harder for me to prepare for a match where you're playing on players.
we should definitely do that then and let you work a wee bit harder, Michael.
Yeah, just like kids from a local primary school even.
Yeah. Do you know, because, well, listen, we'll play really well, we'll work really hard and probably get beaten 2-1. But there you go.
It's you're saying there about McCrudden, Michael. I'm not sure if you two playing it, but the fantasy league, right? I know I'm harking back to this fantasy league, but I've actually shot up to 2nd place in the whole league, and I actually have.
Which one are you talking about now?
It's the one that do the updates on the Twitter every week. It's like Fantasy Irish League, and I've shot up to 2nd place in the overall league in the past few weeks. It just went up and up and up, and I actually picked McCrudden in January. You've got one transfer window, and it was like I weighed it up and was like, will I go for McCrudden or will I go for Curran? And I couldn't make my mind up, and I went McCrudden. And then he didn't score for ages and ages and ages, and I was like, Jesus, like I wish I hadn't picked him. And then he scored like 6 goals in the last few weeks, and he's getting man of the match every week, and it just went bang, 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 bang. Obviously helped with Lee Bonus scoring as well, with plenty of goals, but and he's on fire. But I'm hoping in this week he doesn't score, like, you know what I mean? But they are on fire at the minute.
He had to step up, didn't he? Because they've had a couple of injuries and things, and they've had to kind of change the team around a bit. And he got a run of games, and then hat trick and a brace within, what was that, 3 days he got those goals, and then he goes out and gets a goal in his last match as well.
Confidence, isn't it? Confidence is
player.
up, and
like he'd gone a period last season without scoring, and then he scored down at Dungannon in the cup game, and everyone thought that was going to be the run for him, and it was just before the season got brought to a halt, so he was a wee bit unlucky there. But when his confidence is high, and it is at the moment, he's a very good player. He's 10 goals now in the campaign, and Ryan Curran has 13. So I'm not giving away any trade secrets here. They're going to be very dangerous players, and it's going to be if you can contain them. But you were able to get a dramatic equaliser the last time you played them. I'm sure you'd probably bite my hand off if I offered you that now.
Absolutely. Have either of you looked at the Sunday Live Stream team recently? There's lots of familiar faces in there. Patrick Van Dort, the former Portadown Times sports editor and newsletter deputy editor for sport, I think, he's sitting top of the pile, like. And our kit man, Jason Hall, he's maybe about 12th on that as well. So there's a few boys knocking about who know their players now.
Very good. I wish I had entered that one as well, but unfortunately
some crack if Paddy Van Dort wins it, because the prize is $2,000, so he'd be like taking $2,000 off his direct competitors in the newspaper world, I'd say. Yeah.
I like that, because there was a little thing there where Neil was kind of quietly thinking, I know more about football than him. Like, I could just sense who's top? No.
Yeah. No, he's got it now, yeah.
It's because in the Irish League fantasy football this year, I'm actually flying. But yeah, in the English Premier League, I'm having an absolute mare. Like, shocking. But sure, what can you do? Like,
Portadown's last home win against Cliftonville. There's a quiz question for you.
I just asked Johnny Dunlop, who does our Twitter, if I'm even preparing for commentary. I'm just like texting Johnny, asking him who scored the most goals, when's the last time we did this, when's the last time we did that. So
it'll be going back for a few years, because Portadown's record against Cliftonville in the last few years has been atrocious. I remember beating them at home the season we were in the championship and won the League Cup. Was it beat them in the League Cup quarterfinal? Sorry, it wasn't. It was the game before the quarterfinal.
I'll go for league home win. Just
I don't know.
I'm gonna say 2000 and the 2011-12 season.
2011 is the answer, because it was February 2011, so wrong season but right year, so I'll still give you the points on that. 2-1 goals from Alan Colley and Kevin Braniff.
I honestly thought you were just throwing that question out, but you had the answer, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, I looked it up to come on this, because I was very mindful. I haven't finished my commentary notes yet for the game, so I was like, let's make sure I know something when I come onto their podcast to talk about the match.
Who was it? Alan Colley and who?
Kevin Braniff.
Very good.
So good. There you go. 10 years ago, under Ronnie, of course, and at Shamrock Park. So your last league home win. 10 years, so you never know.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Going back a while.
Beating them once a decade at home would be dead on, like. The one that stands out for me was we had to beat them in the last game of the season, and I don't know, 96 or 2002 or whatever, and Cliftonville scored first and their players celebrated like this, because the whole thing was the trophy was going to get delivered by a helicopter. So they were basically, and then I think we beat them 2 or 3-1 after that. Not sure. Somebody tell me it was 96 or 2002.
It was 2002, and we won 3-1. Vinny scored, Gary Hamilton scored, and Colin Feeney scored.
I'm always impressed by the statisticians. It's unbelievable. Brilliant.
That's the game that you put the picture up the other week of me standing beside Gary Hamilton.
Oh yeah, that's right. You haven't changed either, so.
Well, here, listen, here's hoping for 3 points for Portadown on Saturday. Obviously, then next Tuesday we have another difficult game. We have the visit of Larne again. It feels like yesterday they were only down. Like the games are coming thick and fast. It's just funny as listening to Tippy's post-match interview, and he was like 5 defeats on the bounce, but it's only been over the last couple of weeks. They're coming that thick and fast. So with Larne down last week, they beat us 2-1. Obviously the strike from Hale, won it in the end. It'll be another difficult game next week. I feel like we asked this before, Michael. What do you make of Larne this season? I think we actually asked you the exact same question the last time you were on.
Yeah, and look, they've fallen short in the title race, and they've been quite disappointed. And they definitely look like a team that had lost a little bit of their confidence. And probably once you start to realise the title's further and further away, it's kind of hard to maybe pick yourself back up again. And they got, I feel like they could look at their season and say they were unlucky with when games were called off and things like that, because they were on such a good run. And all of a sudden it just, they didn't hit the self-destruct button, but something clearly veered off to the left a little bit, didn't it? So it's been frustrating for them, and they've had a few results that they're going to be really disappointed with looking back. And it's a season as, what might have been. They're still in a strong position to try and qualify automatically for Europe. And, they could finish the season saying, well, we've won the Irish Cup, the County Antrim Shield, and who's going to knock them if they were able to do that? For example, given, any Larne fans watching this to see what you think about them, how long Larne had to wait for some senior silverware. So the idea that there's still, something tangible there just out in front of them that they could grab a hold of, they shouldn't be discounted. And you'll be sick of coming up against the Hales.
You forgot to say in the list of accomplishments there that they were the Christmas champions. Don't forget that now.
Oh, here he's stirring the pot. I'll leave that to you.
Listen, this is factual. This is put up. I'm just stating facts here, Rick.
Listen, there's the only thing worse than Christmas champions is stats that are over a calendar year. The leading goal scorer of this calendar year, or the most points over this calendar year. I hate that. That's terrible.
Or don't forget a certain club over in England saying that they had won the league and the Champions League at the same time, even though it was over 2 different seasons.
Listen, we're not here to talk about English football. We're here to slag Larne. So yes, whatever. Listen, but I think when the Larne Football Club as a whole look back, to be promoted and be where they are after a couple of seasons is, we'd all take it. Really, it's phenomenal. Yeah. I suppose we like to have a dig at them because there was so much money spent, and money helps, but there's an awful lot else has to click as well for things to happen. And
well, they're 6 points behind Coleraine, remember, and they've got a game in hand. So, we're talking about them as if they're a million miles off. There's still quite a few games to go. So. Yeah. Who knows? And Coleraine play Glentoran again this weekend. Mm-hmm. So Larne will be hoping probably for a draw there to try and make more ground than them. They're 4 points behind Glentoran, haven't played the same amount of games. They've both played 30 matches. So it's funny, and Matthew Tipton's point about the losing run, then you go, it's only actually been a couple of weeks where things haven't gone our way. Because the fixtures are so kind of on top of each other, we get very carried away about a good or a bad week for teams. They're either incredible or awful. And really the truth is probably there's somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm. It's true. We're fickle football fans.
I agree, but at the same time, I'm not having it. I'm sorry, not when it comes to Larne. Larne should be challenging at the top of the league, and they are miles off. And Michael Galt was on the show here the other week, and he said the exact same thing with the money spent and everything that's been said. This was their chance, and they're nowhere near Linfield, nowhere near them. And to me, I don't buy into this nonsense that they're happy to get top 6. Not having it, because rest assured, if anybody else had spent that kind of money and they weren't challenging for the league, there'd be serious questions being asked. So sorry, I'm not buying it.
No, I imagine they'll be satisfied with European money this season. That'll be.
But that's if they get the European places. And to be honest, I wouldn't bet on them getting Europe. I really wouldn't. And if they don't, I think that's a massive disappointment for Larne. And I'm not just saying that like to have a dig. I genuinely believe that if they do not get top six, or sorry, if they do not get European football, I think their season's a failure. And I don't care that they won the Kindnip Shield, because if I turn around and said Portadown won the Mid-Ulster Cup or Coleraine won the Northwest Cup, people would be like, I'm what?
You see, the way at the very start of this, you said you should be the one giving the team talk. I think you just have for Larne. Look, he's away.
He's away. He's had enough. He's had enough.
Sorry, I got a call there from Kirsty.
Is your dinner ready?
No, I don't know what's happening there. I told her she's out. I told her whatever you do, don't come in and interrupt me and do this. And she decides to phone me instead.
Oh well, there we go. So Larne, listen, anything could happen. I think at Shamrock Park against Larne. You know, I could see us getting a win. I could see Larne beating us. I'd be happy with a draw. You know, they're like Michael's saying, they're still a good side. They're knocking on the door of the top few places there, and team full of quality and full of players and very expensive wages, which didn't cost them anything. But there you go.
And if you believe that, you believe anything.
But listen, it's it'll be an interesting, because you know we've beaten Carrick convincingly. We've got a good win over Dungannon, so to be playing, you know, top six teams again, Cliftonville and Larne, both at home, and at home, you know, it's Shamrock Park, anything can happen. Teams coming away from, you know, Larne coming away from the place that they're used to training on, Cliftonville coming away from the place that they're used to training on and playing on. It's different for them. So anything can happen on the day. And with our defence are in great form, you know, in the last couple of matches, what Jacob Carney had to do, he did well. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of blocks from defenders and there's a lot of cutting out attacks before it even gets that far. So it'll be interesting to see if we can probably step it up another notch from playing against Carrick and Dungannon to compete with those two teams. And obviously players are tired and there's injuries and all that kind of stuff as well to contend with. So Matthew and David and the others will have some decisions to make for these couple of matches, because the last match before the split after that is Warren Point away, which is probably more important than these two matches. So
yeah, no, I know we're saying all that stuff about Larne. Obviously on their day they're a very good side, but I think even the two each at Inver Park showed that Larne can be got at. I think they can sort of be, what's the word? They can plot their own downfall, because they play good football and possession football, but then they have a wee chink in the armour that they'll maybe take their eye off the ball and make the odd mistake, and then teams can get at them.
That's
and that
it.
happened the last time.
Yeah, and I think with Lee Bonus, we are set up to feed on defensive scraps and mistakes as well. So hopefully that might play into our hands. Yeah, I'm on the commentary.
He's against them, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, Tuesday night that is. That's I'm on commentary. Mark Beattie has kindly offered me commentary that night, so I'll be with Portadown legend and 4 league titles. Who's the only Portadown player to win 4 league titles? BBC co-commentator.
It's Philip Major, is it?
Mickey Keenan, no?
Yeah, Philly Major.
Yeah.
Philly
I thought
Major.
that only because Philly's told me how many medals he has.
So if it turns out Neil's scratching his chin, maybe it is Mickey Keenan as well. Maybe Philip's the outfield player, but I'll just be sitting there giggling while Philly Major's talking, you know. I hope he just doesn't tell the same story about being on the plane with the Glenallen players and the pilot making the announcement, because I've heard that one at least 14 times now. But no, he knows the game inside out and he's good crack, so I'll be looking forward to that one. That'll be a good live stream.
You're in very good company there anyway.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Yeah.
Actually, I remember playing a game at Solitude in 2014. It was an Irish League fan / legend / media game. And Philip Major was playing, but he was playing the other team. And it was one fan from each club got to play. And I remember I was flying down the line and Philip Major came in, and I actually thought he's going to bin me here because the way he was coming in. And he actually said, and it wasn't like Michael Galt here the other week, but Philip, he didn't. And anyway, the ball went out and he goes, the only thing that saved you there is because you support Portadown. Otherwise, you were going up into the stand. That is like, oh, thank you very much.
Nice. That's a gentleman. If Michael Galt's watching, take note, Michael.
Listen, I suppose we can wrap things up there. Fingers crossed for 2 wins. Obviously against Cliftonville and Larne, 2 very difficult games. Michael, thank you very much once again for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure having you, and good luck for the commentary on Saturday. Fingers crossed you'll be commentating on a few goals from Lee Bonus. Lee, if you're listening to this, please keep scoring, because I am so close to top place and I want it. So make sure you score a few more goals. Cheers.
Maybe you need to incentivize that for him, Neil.
No, I'll drop my DM and see what he says.
Michael, that's a 5:30 kick-off on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Should be a good game of football. And I look forward to Lee Bonus, pulling the shirt over his head in celebration with a picture of Neil on a vest underneath.
That needs to happen.
Dave, as always, thank you very much for coming on, and I hope you enjoy the games at the weekend. So, as we are. And here, I'll say it again, don't forget to like and subscribe to the We Are Ports TV YouTube channel, and check out the Spotify as well. Cheers, fellas.
Thanks, guys.